Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, New Powerpuff Girls, Star vs. the Force of Evil, and Ruby. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hello.
And Justin Cummings.
Hello.
Today, Sam, Justin, and I will be discussing the December 1st winter special, I guess. I don't know what they're branding it as. There's snow in the episode of
there is snow.
Yeah, of Steven Universe. 3 gems and a baby. We discuss Steven Universe every time it's new, and also generally every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or other podcatchers. Very excited to get into to 3 gems and a baby here, and then later we'll have some sort of feedback show with your guys' questions, comments up at some point throughout the weekend in the next few days. Get your comments, questions into Justin hosting that at justin@overlyanimated.com, or leave comments on this article or YouTube or whatever, and we'll compile them and take all your feedback on your baby Steven theories, I guess. I don't know what will be the big theories from this episode. We'll see. I feel like there's the theories on like why the gem size relative to baby Steven, stuff like that. We'll get into that now. Okay.
But there is no theories.
I was a little bit surprised to see the visual of like the full size gem with like the tiny Steven.
I was not. Well, gems don't change in size, Dylan.
I mean, I wasn't like logically surprised. It was just visually striking.
They just are.
It is R.
Well, maybe you should think more logically.
I guess so. I guess I should have considered this before the episode because we knew Baby
Yes.
Steven would be here. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into 3 gems and a baby. We just saw it air on. It was like 7:30. I don't know why, but is that when the show? Cartoon Network moves this around. At some point, this episode was at 8:30, but then they changed it. Okay, Sam, impressions of 3 gems and a baby.
Kind of boring, TBH.
Oh, ooh,
hot takes from Sam.
Yeah, hot takes already.
I don't know. I just like there were like a lot of lines throughout the episode that sort of made me cringe. I mean, they're like too like I don't know.
It's
too
very
like,
very generic dialogue. It's points.
Yeah, like what was the one that Steven said? This is what you get for raising me to love music or something. I was like, oh,
that was cute.
No,
cute. Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I didn't really like it all that much. I thought it would have been more substantial.
Do you think it's our least substantial flashback episode?
Yes.
Okay, hot take.
I thought there was going to be more going on other than them trying to kidnap Steven because his gem glow. I don't know. Not to say it was bad. I just felt personally disappointed. I felt like I was expecting more than just what was essentially just like a fluffy sort of character episode about seeing how far the gems have come with change and progress and blah blah blah, which we kind of already knew. And it just felt like an excuse to see baby Steven and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it was all right, but it wasn't like the best.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Interested to see what Justin has to say. What do you think, Justin?
I didn't dislike it. Yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was, like Sam said, I thought it was fluff. My biggest issue is it kind of feels like they have to do some retconning now, because I was always under the impression that Gem Glow was the first time his gem actually glowed based on everyone's reaction and the dialogue. And now it's like, well, it did happen before. Steven just wasn't cognizant of the fact that it happened. And it feels really weird now, like with that adjustment and kind of the canon, and I don't know what to make of that. And the whole thing just it honestly kind of felt fan fiction-y and a bit Star Wars holiday special. Like none of it actually mattered.
Do you think this is a non-canonical Christmas special? Is that what you're saying, Justin?
It is, because it's clearly designed to be canon, but just I don't say a mistake like that, but just something like that just catches attention of, is that canon? Just kind of.
Okay. But overall, though, what about, aside from, we'll discuss that. Aside from that, though, impressions.
I thought it was cute, especially Amethyst, and I think kind of all the different gems trying to rationalize what Steven is.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I like the episode. I thought it was a bit much with the whole kidnapping Steven thing, but it was okay. It was fine.
Okay.
Nothing fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could have gone either way on this, but I guess since you guys are on the negative side, I'll be the positive one.
Okay.
This was I like Three Gems and a Baby. I thought this was certainly I enjoyed viewing this episode more than Gem Harvest, which was filled with kind of complex feelings. I'm not necessarily saying that was like a worse episode or anything. I mean, I get what you guys are saying. I think that this episode doesn't. This is one of those episodes. Take it out and nothing changes, and it was a little bit surprising. Like in the scope of the show, and it's a bit surprising for a flashback episode to kind of be in this territory. I think the themes that we had with, the growing stuff, the stuff with handling Steven as a baby, we kind of approached these themes before and the story points in the show, but I did think it was worthwhile to explicitly see this happening and the Crystal Gem's reaction to Steven. I thought that was the most interesting part of the episode to me, was seeing them, all three of them, not know what to do. And kind of just not be able to like conceptualize it. It was a little bit hard to put together the two disparate things that happened, which is kind of all three of them seemingly not understanding that this is like what Rose wanted, and and that like this is Rose and she's intends to be in this form. With then the fact that Pearl's like, oh yeah, I know this is what Rose wanted. It's just hard to accept. It was like an interesting contrast, and this whole episode seems more, the whole flashback seems like maybe in fairy tale kind of territory. Like everything's kind of very generic. The morals are kind of blatant. The actions aren't necessarily logically, like I was talking about the two things that don't make sense together, the Gem's reactions. But it was, it was a story of the past, and it was them telling that. And I thought it was kind of like nice to see this told to Steven, and to see, just to kind of like explicitly see the reaction to Rose going to Steven. And I'd also argue this is kind of an important thing to cover before we get into our big Rose territory coming up, which I assume what we're doing. We've been hitting on the Steven dealing with Rose thematics for quite a while on the show, and I assume we're going to come to a head if they didn't embubble it already. And Steven kind of explicitly hearing about how the Gems reacted to him turning into Rose, I think is something that's important to have information on as we approach Steven's further feelings with this. Side note on that, I thought it was, if I were Steven, I would have reacted more negatively to their story. I think we could have had angsty Steven from this, like,
yeah, I mean, Pearl did try to kill him.
Not in that regard, but in
Yes,
terms
she
of
did.
them, not like in terms of that, why Steven reacted anti, in terms of like, why, in terms of like them not understanding that he's himself and like, not accepting him, like hearing that come from them. I feel like that could have been hard, but, he's just very happy-go-lucky Steven the whole episode. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't know how people will react to the episode, but, I guess Justin, as, I think you're our resident Greg expert. Do you accept this title?
I will take the title.
Okay. Well, how does this fall in the canon of the Greg episodes, and how did you like Greg in this episode?
I think it's one of the weaker Greg episodes, just because it's a very weak episode to begin with. But I like Greg in the episode. I thought it was definitely the kind of Greg we're used to seeing, very much trying his best, good father. But as an episode, it was just weak.
No enjoying seeing Greg as reacting to baby Steven, being like, I like the moment there's like, Gem, babies don't glow, or like, do they? And then he runs the baby book. I like that type of stuff with Greg. I thought that was fun. But we haven't even mentioned the song, probably the best part of the episode, I would say. I Can Never Be Ready, sung by Greg, very reminiscent of Greg the Babysitter, introducing the flashback with a song. That seems to be what we're going back to here in this episode. I thought it was used to incredibly good effect in Greg the Babysitter. And I thought it was also used interestingly here. I mean, in Greg the Babysitter, I feel like the song was kind of a summation of the story we're about to see. And then in this episode, it's kind of the beginning of the story. So it's kind of two different uses. Sam, what do you think? Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
They've done it in every flashback, because you had like a comment, and then you had what can I do for you? And so we've already had the flashbacks being introduced of songs. It's just now they're directly relating to the story and not just Greg's music career. So I think we're seeing kind of an evolution of it.
Okay,
But
yeah.
it's been there since season 1, technically.
Yeah, that's a good take on that. Yeah, I wasn't connecting like the Greg songs to this type of song, which like those make sense in the episode, I guess, and these are more of like I guess Greg singing them in the present. So I guess it is a different type of Greg song. Yeah, why does Greg have the song prepared for this? Like I don't
I mean, there are like the rough tracks for his next album about his life.
I guess those are.
It'll be his magnum opus, like his double album.
Well, he is writing the album Waterway, so let's not forget.
I did forget that. Sam, thoughts on the song in the beginning of this episode?
Kind of, like I don't know. I don't really remember it.
I could never be. I could never be.
I don't. I think it's another part of the episode that kind of feels like sort of cringy a little bit. Like
I really enjoyed that. I definitely disagree.
Like sort of like not like cringy, just like just typical like what I expect.
Certainly, this episode was expected given the formula of this episode archetype on Steven Universe. Certainly.
Yeah.
I like the song though. I think this complacency. Sure. I think that this song is not going to be making my top 10 or even 15 or maybe have we even had that many 20? I don't know. Steven Universe songs. Agree or disagree, Justin?
We've had that many. I don't see why this wouldn't make your top 10 though. It's not a bad song.
Sure. I think it's fine. I just think that like it doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah, I agree.
See, I'm trying to think of 10 like really standout songs.
I think we made top 10 lists for the OVA Minute blog.
We have,
and I wouldn't put that on my list. I think I like this. Like this is the best part of the episode. Like the songs in Steven Universe are such a highlight. So comparing to the best ones, I think is a little bit unfair. But I thought this was nice. This wasn't meant to be like a highlight like those other ones. This was just a nice little introduction to the story.
Fair.
Yeah. I liked that part. I think the main discussion point for this episode is the Gem's reaction to baby Steven. Twice this episode, we did a thing where, shout out to the new Powerpuff Girls reboot. We did their most common trope, which is we have 3 crystal gems here. We have 3 Powerpuff Girls, and in that show, the thing they do most often is they have a situation, and then they have each girl individually react to it, showcasing their personality. It's something that the new Powerpuff Girls has done incredibly well, and they really hone their sense of characterizations. And it's something we see here how Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl react to, and we see that twice. We see them giving gifts, and then later, just like how each of them is like dealing with baby Steven when they kidnap them. Right. I guess that's what and so I think that this is like an interesting device to use in this point, just to make sure we're hitting on each of our gems and seeing how they're, kind of reacting pre and post, just kind of like strife in terms of just before they like decide that something has to be done. Just very, very like symmetrical, formulaic type stuff. The narrative again is simplistic. I think this is like a fairy tale, like a flashback and storytelling where everything is very, like you don't see the details, just the generalities, that type of thing. But the larger point would be, I think that each of the 3 gems, even Garnet, did not react well in the van or wherever they were to baby Steven once like post kidnapping. Sam, what were your thoughts on this? Because this changed my perception of like how they reacted. I didn't know that there's a point where they really just didn't understand what was happening with Steven and with Rose. Like I knew that like Rose wasn't super consulting them with this, but I didn't know how badly they reacted, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I don't know. Like Pearl reacting badly is a given.
Yes. Expected.
And honestly, like Pearl was probably my favorite part of the episode because I like angsty.
This was angsty Pearl. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah,
like classic vintage Pearl.
Vintage
angsty.
Pearl.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. It makes sense for there to be like a fraying and like, just like expectations sort of like falling apart and not really understanding. Because I don't know, like at least the impression And I think characters have said as much in episodes like Rose's Scabbard. Rose didn't really share too much information with anybody. So let alone like her reasoning, which I would think like she would explain her reasoning why, Steven is what he is, and like more or less, what he is.
Yeah.
Or what he will be in terms of the
thing
past.
is, it seemed like she did, because Pearl did kind of say like, "Oh, I know this is what you wanted." After we've gone through the cycle of seeing them each react badly.
Yeah, but they didn't understand, and gems don't change, I guess, because they're rocks and rocks. But then again, rocks can
but Steven says at the end that they do change. Rocks can erode. Wow, that's profound.
Well, that's like a natural thing, but you can cut rocks and stuff, and metaphor, jewelry making, and I don't know, dude.
Jewelry making, deep, yeah.
It was certainly a thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess that's like the main tension of the episode, anyway. So
yeah. Anon on Tumblr says, Pearl literally thought about poofing baby Steven. LOL.
Yep. She's gonna kill him.
LOL. Yeah. Justin, do you agree did you also have the sense that this was surprising that each of the gems, even Garnet, would have reacted this badly to, and I'm not like, when I say reacted badly, I'm not trying to like paint their actions in such a negative or whatever, whatever there, but I'm just trying to like classify in the general term what was happening, to baby Steven. Were you surprised by this?
Yeah, I mean, I figured especially Garnet would have my headcanon has always been that Garnet knew from the moment Greg showed up kind of what would happen. And so seeing Garnet so thrown for a loop, and I think so hung up on Steven as a fusion, kind of shocked me, just because it's not kind of how I envisioned Garnet. But I mean, we forget, I think, just how unique Steven is. The fact that even for these gems who had rebelled against Homeworld, rebelled against their programming, the idea of Steven was still that unfathomable. And I think in hindsight, it makes sense, but I wouldn't have expected it.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense, but I don't think it's what the show has presented so far. So I think I think in that regard, this does advance the canon. So I don't think it's like a complete filler. What about this thing we've been talking about where Pearl like literally tries to poof baby Steven, LOL. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, but I understand this is what Rose wanted." So how do we explain these disparate reactions from Pearl and the gems? Was this a literal representation of what happened? Was this just a simplistic retelling to Steven? So was it just a simplistic retelling to Steven, or was this literally what happened and the gems just had trouble processing it and like reacting to it in reality, even if they kind of knew that this was true in the back of their head? Justin.
I think this was I think they painted it pretty accurately. I think each flashback has been getting more and more in depth. I think we've been seeing more and more, I don't want to say mature themes, but I think Greg has started revealing more and more to Steven as he's gotten older. And I think that's fitting. And I think this was pretty close to what happened. Because, I mean, if you're already telling Steven you kidnapped him, why sugarcoat it at that point?
Okay. What do you agree, Sam?
Sure.
Yeah, I just thought it was like interesting that, they'd react so quote unquote illogically and then have the logical explanation immediately after. I found that pretty notable. I don't know.
I don't know either. That was a loaded question, Dylan.
I mean, I wasn't trying to sway one way. I genuinely think it could go either way on that. I feel like all of this episode could be interpreted loosely in terms of it being a retelling, but what about, so let's talk, I guess we can talk about him glowing for a second. To be honest, I remember almost none of Gem Glow. I should rewatch it.
Me too.
So Steven glowing in Gem Glow was a big thing, Justin, and, he glue again here, and this was supposed to happen before that.
Yeah, it's, like, looking back to Gem Glow, everyone, like, freaked out, like, Steven's gem is glowing, Steven's gem is glowing. But had it happened when he was a little baby, wouldn't there have been some, just even, like, a slight line about, this hasn't happened in 12 years, or just something to indicate this has happened before? And so I think, I'm starting to feel like this is the issue of flashbacks, is I feel like they hadn't planned this episode when they made Gem Glow.
Yeah, well, certainly that's true.
And, they hadn't planned at all on the idea that Steven had glowed as a baby. And so when they went to do it, they're like, well, we're kind of in a corner. Hopefully no one will think back that far. But I don't say it left a bad taste in my mouth, but it definitely, for a show that focuses so tightly on canon a lot of the time when it comes to like the foreshadowing, this kind of felt off.
Sure.
Like if another show did it, I would have been fine, but this show has a higher standard.
Yeah, I agree. This show doesn't really contradict itself. Maybe this is the first time it's glowed since then, in Gem Glow. Maybe that's why they react like that. You're right. They probably should have said that. But again, that was the first episode of the show and created, 5 years ago. So
Precisely.
Production of that episode. I think it's, I don't know. So yeah, that was notable. What do you think of what I said in the beginning? The Gem being normal size baby Steven. Like this took up like a significant portion of baby Steven's area.
Dylan.
I understand physically why that is the case, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. So
that would
why
be my
are you complaining
like
about it?
that would be my like my most striking visual of the episode would be baby Steven with the rose gem.
It makes sense.
So we don't need to get into the biology of this, but when baby Steven was even smaller than like, I mean, I guess this is pretty close to when he was born. So this would be a thing that would happen at the birth. We're not getting into that, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. I like seeing baby Steven with the gem. What other big things are we missing?
Oh, okay. Here's a problem I have. All right, so in the episode, while I guess I don't know stuff is happening, Greg comes across a picture of Vidalia, Yellowtail, and Sour Cream, right?
Yeah.
Sour Cream looks to be about like 3 or 4 years old, right? And thus. In that one episode with I don't even remember what it was called, but Rose like kidnaps the baby, etc.
Greg the babysitter.
Yes, exactly. Sour Cream was a baby, so that makes me wonder, or make me think. Their courtship, Rose and Greg, was very short, like maybe like 3 years, and I don't know. I don't see how Greg's like character model can like change until like a 30-year-old, like 35-year-old, like Homer Simpson looking guy in that time frame. And I don't know. I just don't understand.
Are you saying the difference in the Greg model between Greg the babysitter in this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Here is how I counter that. Here is the correct answer, Sam. This is objectively the correct answer. Okay. Every flashback until this one had been pre-Steven birth. Ergo, Greg, who tells all the flashbacks, saw himself as this young, hip guy, no matter how old he was. And Greg the babysitter, he could have been in his 30s already. We don't know. But because he was still, this is still pre-Steven, he still saw himself as this young kind of rocker guy. Now that Steven's been born, looking back, he sees himself as this father, this kind of calmer, matured, aged character. So we got to keep in mind, it's not like we're actually looking at that time. It's the way Greg sees himself in those flashbacks.
This is the flashbacks are not literal representation, just the telling of the person. Defense.
I disagree. Yes. We're putting this on the wild mass guessing of the TV tropes page.
Sam has decreed it is.
I'm not actually going to do that, but
you could.
I am decreeing this a new trope called.
This is not a new trope.
Flashback.
Yeah, that's not a new thing.
Proportion.
I don't know. How does love work that way? That you can, be dating somebody for 3 years and you can decide, oh, I want to have a kid with you and like die. I don't understand.
Okay, is that the complaint? Because that's not, Sam. That is
a lot.
Yeah, that is not abnormal, Sam. But
that's really not.
That's abnormal for me, Dylan.
I mean, logically, you could argue, but no, that is very, very common. But
doesn't self-preservation have a say?
You would think Greg would hesitate more before breeding with the alien, but if that's what you mean, you would think so.
I was meaning more towards Rose, but I guess it's made up already.
Oh, Justin, you wouldn't?
No.
Okay, noted in the Justin canon that he would not hesitate. Okay, let's go through other small moments from this episode. I like Steven's. This happened 14 years ago. Hey, I'm 14 years. Still surprising that Steven is 14, for the record, but
I'm surprised.
Snowman Jr., son of Snowman. I think that's a reference to something.
I enjoyed that line, whatever it was a reference to.
Yeah, something older than me. Our arrangement thing. We already had a scene in Greg the Babysitter of like, do we have to do a song every time we do tell you a story? And now this is like a second scene of that exact same thing said in a different phrase in like a different way. I think we can just do the song. We don't need to explain that we're doing the song anymore. Like, I get it. Like, we're doing the song with the flashback. That's fine. With the we talked about the I can never be ready. Your gem needs to breathe. What do you think of that concept of like the gem not wanting to be behind like clothes? Does Steven always have the gem out now? I'm trying to remember. Like Steven's character model.
Hold on.
Steven Universe pick.
It's closed. It's typically under his shirt. However, his shirt's never tucked in or anything, so it can still kind of get some air compared to like a buttoned up little baby.
That's true. Justin, do you have a mythology explanation for why the gem would need to breathe?
Yes, because rocks are rocky.
See, when I thought when you said yes, you'd have an actual explanation. This is not
because I usually have the weird, obscure facts.
See, that's why I went to you on this. But no,
this is why you hired me. But no, I actually don't have an obscure fact for this one. I just honestly, it may not even be that it needed to breathe because that's Greg guessing.
Okay,
it could have been itchy for all we know. We don't know what that.
Okay, that's a good.
I don't know. Thinking back, have we ever seen a gem with a covered up? Like, other than, like, a visor or whatever, with a covered up gem?
When Garnet has her gauntlets on, technically.
Okay. There's a comment debate we're waiting to happen, yeah. So we'll see about that. The gifts for Amethyst calling Steven Little Rose. It's a human baby and it's not Rose. Razor, adult diapers, and a dictionary from Pearl. I like the dictionary from
Sounds
Pearl.
like my kind of night.
That's really.
Yep. I shaved myself while wearing adult razors and reading the dictionary.
Adult diapers and reading.
I assume you mean wearing adult diapers, not wearing adult razors.
Yeah,
I said yeah.
Best gift for a being that can't yet communicate, says Pearl about the dictionary. I like that. I like that as a gift from Pearl. Very logical.
It is very logical.
Yeah.
That's why Pearl's my favorite because she's logical.
Yeah, there you go.
Unlike some people.
Is that a knock against another gem or against
me?
Knocks against Dylan.
Because of our early debate, yeah.
Yes.
How role reversal with this logical, illogical.
Dylan, you know that I always nitpick about logic.
That's true.
I'm surprisingly calm for
show
once.
logic. Yeah, you are. You're not hype at all. It's interesting. That's why I had to be the positive one on the episode. But okay, no, I did enjoy it though. Trying Amethyst shape-shifting into a baby. That was later. Trying to shapeshift, glow twice for yes. Baby Steven grabbing Pearl's nose. I thought that was good. That was necessary. That needed to happen.
That's disappointing because all the fan comics are whenever the first time Steven boops Pearl's nose, Pearl's falls in love with him and it's just anticlimactic.
I predict that is the most gif of the episode is Baby Steven grabbing Pearl's nose.
Okay.
Prediction there. Okay.
No.
You disagree?
No, I don't disagree. I don't know what I said.
You just disagree. You just dislike.
I just disagree statement. Because you're Dylan.
Dislike that I said it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Steven, Garnet thinking Steven is a fusion. Rose could be trying to unfuse. What do you think of this concept of Amethyst thinks Steven is shapeshifting? Or Amethyst thinks but Rose is shapeshifting. Garnet thinks Rose is fused.
Everyone kind of sticks to what they know best because Amethyst always shapeshifts. Garnet's a fusion. The Pearl thinking she's trapped raises an interesting question because that makes me wonder how much Pearl knows about gems being trapped in things, which makes me think Lapis. But that's
trapped in mirror, yeah. But
that's kind of my pet theory.
Yeah, that's
because think about it. A pearl is close to a diamond, and if the diamonds had a hand in putting gems in objects, Pearl would have seen a lot of it. So, just a pet theory.
Interesting. This is very, I think it's a very cartoony portrayal of all of our crystal gems. Just a very simplistic Garnet portrayal. Garnet, Garnet's fusion. Garnet talks about fusion. There.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what would happen. That's why I've been going on about this kind of fairy tale type thing.
One-dimensional
Garnet. Yeah, that's what I thought it was from this episode, which I think it was obviously intentional. But
so does that make Ruby and Sapphire half-dimensional each?
Correct. They did not even speak. So yes,
they didn't.
Yeah,
they couldn't afford the voice actors.
No, don't say that because Tumblr is gonna actually believe that now. But
okay, Tumblr listens to me.
Okay, Tumblr thought the show got canceled after 3 gems and a baby, so Tumblr might believe anything.
Show's canceled now. Yep, no more
Well,
episodes.
go home. Night,
Go home,
guys.
Yep.
R.I.P.
Last episode.
Yep. Okay. Done. Okay.
It's not like we're already renewed for another season, and we're only
I think
a third of the way through this one.
Yeah. We don't know when the next episode is, but that's obviously not canceled. So, yeah, the kidnap scene. Amethyst. Like, why does he get baby? Is it fun or something? And then Shapes is like, yeah, I get the appeal. But this was I don't want to do. Wait, how did she do this for what? How something months? That was months longer than I was a toilet.
Yeah, how long was Amethyst the toilet? There's a weird why Amethyst? Why? Nah.
Maybe she just wanted to see what it was like.
I don't know how to approach this without getting into a certain territory, but
we can't touch this line of dialogue, or
I think it was meant to be very innocuous, but
I'll touch it. I'll put my dirty hands all over it.
No, but we can't. This is a G-rated discussion.
You're not helping, Sam.
Yeah.
Was she like a porta potty, or is she like a like? Was she just like a toilet, like a rich person's house? Or she just walked out of the toilet?
Wait, why is that Why is that an important distinction?
I feel like just her head shapeshifted, and like she's walking around like with the crocodile thing, but just with a toilet head. Get it? So she's a potty mouth.
Yeah, I do think the intent was innocuous by Amethyst, I guess, but yeah, interesting.
Oh, Tumblr.
What do you mean? Oh, Tumblr. Tumblr didn't. Anyway,
not yet.
The dog, not yet is true. The dog sled. Yeah. What do you think?
That
of
I love.
Justin?
That's gonna be the most gift moment.
I think it's the nose thing, but that was good. And then I guess I like later that Greg wasn't riding them, but they were chasing him. That was good. Yeah, like Greg would not have been able to pull that off.
I always used to wonder what would happen if I tied my dog up to the sled.
Why didn't you do it?
Because I felt bad. Because
that's the valid
I felt
reason.
like that. I felt like he couldn't pull me.
Yeah, probably not. I guess because small dog, but yeah,
dog
sled. Yeah, can't reform. Has this baby in her. I can let you out. Yeah, she wanted this so much. I don't understand why. It's this growing and changing thing. What do you think of the growing and changing thing, Sam?
I don't know.
They say it's not natural for them, and then Steven at the end is like, "But look at you. Of course, you guys are growing and changing." And that's
not natural. Well, because when you're cutting gems for jewelry making, it obviously is not natural because that's not how they naturally form.
More the jewelry theory from Sam. # jewelry theory. This seemed a very like surface level theme to throw into the episode.
I mean, every episode has to have a moral, doesn't it?
I guess so. What did you think of it, Justin?
Yes.
Yes?
That is my answer.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know. People, little gems aren't really people, but they're.
I mean, if you guess, so you want our analysis of it, like the gems don't think they can grow and change like humans, but like look at the difference between look at the difference between Pearl then and Pearl now. Of course, they've grown. Like, of course they have, and that's not
also Pearl was driving illegally again.
Oh, interesting.
She does that a lot.
Ooh, we got to track this. Pearldrives.tumblr.com.
Oh, okay. Where is the mystery girl? Why haven't we heard from her yet? Why wasn't she invited to Thanksgiving?
Okay. Yeah, that's good points.
Yeah, where is she?
Sam, do you agree that Chloe is going to be mystery girl?
Yes. That Ashley Birch.
Ashley Birch is going to voice someone. Do you think on Steven Universe? Do you think that she's actually going to be mystery girl? That's what
I hope and I pray.
What did I miss?
I love her.
Ashley Birch, Adventure Time writer and breezy voice actress.
Also from Hey Ash, What You Playing?
Yeah.
Borderlands 2, Life is Strange,
etc. Breezy going to be a voice on Steven Universe. Yes. Breezy. Yes, Breezy. Yes.
I love her, and I want her to be the other woman I love as well in fictional form. Well, one of the other women I love in fictional form.
This is the mystery girl, the other woman you love in fictional form.
Yeah, the first one is Chloe from Life is Strange, but nevertheless.
I feel like there's a disparity between the one episode character who does not even have a name.
Okay, I love Pearl too. I don't know. Let's just hope. Okay.
Okay.
Let's all have like a prayer circle.
Prayer circle for that happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will be for this isn't about Rose, and from now on everything has to be about Steven.
Yeah,
Thought we
Rose
knew.
is dead. Get over her.
Yeah, get over her already, Pearl. Jeez, we thought we knew what Steven was, but we didn't. Let's do it together. Yep, there you go. She would have loved this, says Steven at the end about Rose. Again, I feel like this episode's a little bit of a missed opportunity for Steven being angsty about Rose. I think we're a little off theme, I guess, in that regard, but that being said, it's like a happy fairy tale, so that's fine.
I wish there were like more antics. I wish it was actually like the movie Three Men and a Baby, because it would be like, fun, and like, people would be like messy and like, trying to cook, and I guess there was like a little bit of that in the beginning with Greg trying to heat up the bottle, but I don't know, it could have been great, but it wasn't.
Okay, hot take. I'll take this over Gem Harvest.
I disagree.
I'll take this over not by a lot. I'll take this
disagree.
over. I'll take this over Onion Gang, obviously. So I'd say best in 3 episodes.
I disagree as well. I liked Onion Gang.
Oh God, don't please.
I will say
Not
this
really,
is
I
the
don't
weakest of
care.
the most recent 3.
Oh, Justin. Oh,
I will argue
you two.
that Onion Gang is better
Oh,
than.
you two. Oh man. Oh man.
Love you,
Okay.
Dylan.
Yeah. Love you too. Yeah. Oh man.
You love me?
Sure.
I think we did that gag already. Last podcast, it was the 2 of you.
I don't remember.
I think that's
Anyway.
credited upon the OVA character territory. So the only other thing I want to mention with this episode is this classic Lamar storyboard episode. At one point, Garnet's hair was so huge. One scene of her in the van. I just wanted to point that out. I know Tumblr will talk
Also,
about this.
at one
but
point, Amethyst's head was ginormous.
yeah, very big
Like
heads.
when she
in
was
the
turning
style.
into a baby and back.
I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing it out. That,
Yeah, just pointing out different storyboard styles here.
yes, super huge Garnet hair. Anyway, last comments on this episode, Sam.
I wonder where Vidalia was. Like, where exactly was she?
Yeah, Vidalia's house, but no Vidalia. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
didn't they?
with
I guess
the
they.
voice
I think they
actors-
said. I think they said where she was in that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Just an
either.
extended stay somewhere. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe she's sailing around with Yellowtail around the sea,
maybe. Yeah,
etc.
etc. Justin, last thoughts on this episode?
Breezy.
Nope, not about this episode, Dragon.
Nope. Though this is unrelated, but related. Well, the new Adventure Time comic, John Islands, is coming out this week, I think.
Okay, interesting.
Written by Ashley Birch herself.
Yep, herself. Yep,
Herself.
in all
I
her
love
glory. Justin, final actual last comments.
I can't wait for more new episodes.
Yeah, okay, so that's where I was going next. So no new episodes scheduled yet. This is
Good.
not really surprised. Good. Defend that statement, Sam.
I don't know. I need a break.
You need a break.
From what?
From what?
We overdosed on Summer of Steven, and
It's been so long.
we still need a break. We need a
No,
break.
I'm done with the break. Bring on.
By the by, they still had the Summer of Steven is over promo.
Yeah, they need to change up their promo. Come on,
Dude,
guys.
no duh, it's December.
Someone says they have a new promo that they aired somewhere else, but they won't show it here.
Well,
It's,
not in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like before they aired it on demand. I don't remember what they said, but yeah, they have a new promo, but they won't air it. So, last year,
Previous
had
years.
we didn't have this November and December episode, but we ended in October, and then we had the Stephen Bomb in January. Considering we had the November and the December episode, I'm a little bit more skeptical of having the January Stephen Bomb, although it certainly seems possible. Either way, I don't think we're going to be regular again until summer. Maybe? I don't know.
I'm sick of the Stephen Wars, Dylan. Stop Stephen Bombs.
We actually haven't had a true Steven bomb since the January one, though.
I'm happy about that.
Well, we had Stephen
Yes, because Summer of Steven was so much better than a Steven bomb.
No, I thought it was. I mean, this is a longer discussion. I thought it was a much better way to air the episodes, but
I don't know.
I'm fine with
If
the
you
show
think
just taking
podcasting 5 times a week was
well,
good.
it's not ideal for podcasting, but I'm not. I'm fine with if they just want to make the show every day during the summer, not air the rest of the year. I think that's a valid airing strategy. But they're going to sprinkle episodes here and there. We're going to do a bomb in sometime in the next few months, probably. But yeah, as of now, nothing on the schedule. We'll see when it comes up. Over or under next episode, January 30th, Sam.
Why that day?
How many
That's
days
just-
are in January?
I don't know.
31.
Okay, so January 31st. I didn't want to
You
do the
act
song.
like I know.
I
how
didn't want to
many
do the
days there are.
song and take up like 10 seconds. To
Dude,
figure out
I
the
don't know the song.
30 days has
September,
November, April, June. Wait, September,
September,
April,
so,
June,
yeah,
and
good job.
November.
Exactly. I don't know the
Okay,
song.
Sam, over under the end of January for the next episode of Steven Universe.
I don't really care.
It's Justin. That's not over under, by the way. That was the third episode.
Okay, Dylan, I honestly don't care. You know
Justin,
what?
over under.
They will feed me new
You
episodes.
try to
and I will
expect me to have optimism. Sam just drains all of
Yeah,
any
Sam is
enthusiasm.
drained, yeah.
I came into
She
this
is.
episode with low levels of enthusiasm.
You did.
Sam
yeah.
just drained me.
Yeah.
So I say I don't care because I have no hope left in my soul.
Wow.
Sam the Sponge.
So I'll say
I'm dead.
later than January 31st. Okay.
So is that over? Because you also didn't say over or under.
Yeah, it's true. Over. So let's say
February 14th, because Valentine's Day is the best.
Yeah, Valentine's Day special. Okay, so get your questions in for Justin's feedback show, justin@overlyanimated.com. Comments on this article, comments somewhere else, or send them Tumblr ask to him at friendlygeeks3.tumblr.com. And other ways, Justin, to get the feedback in?
I typically read from anywhere I can scrounge. So yeah.
Yes. You don't need to read,
Comment
for the
on
record,
the-
you don't need to read every single comment on the website. Some of them, I'm going out all anywhere. Some of them are some of them are not read worthy.
Do you
I'm
know
sorry,
how
commenters, but
desperate I was
yeah,
for
there weren't
content
many
last
comments.
time?
Yeah, you guys got to step up and get them in the comments. In this
Y'all
time.
are
Come on.
usually really, really good. Last time I get it was later. It was kind of a weak episode.
It was.
Give me
a
something to
difficult
work with,
season.
guys.
It was So let's get the giant theories in. I
Throw
brought up
in
the
like
discussion
your
points.
Steven
Yeah.
Universe Christmas wish list for all I care. Just give me something to work with.
That's fine too.
guys.
Yeah, get those in.
Call
at some point.
1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer makes carpets cleaner.
Okay, and
Call for Justin tomorrow.
Yeah, yep, there you go. And yeah, that'll be at some point. If you want to guarantee them, I guess by like Friday night, but we'll talk about that later when it is. And no, that's all the only thing you have to get. But then upcoming podcasts also. Speaking of bombs, this is a Powerpuff Girls bomb this week, but we have not covered that yet. We'll cover all 5 episodes Sunday/Monday if I want to put that out later. New Ruby Sunday morning. Bunch of podcasting stuff, maybe some other cool stuff. We'll see if those come together. You can check all that out at overlyanimated.com or consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to our current patrons, Mitch Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, Catherine, Taylor, Devon, Jay, John, Finch, and Victoria, and Katrin, aka Phoebe, Mitch, Gunny, Speak Strange, Nathan, Fillion, Buzz Like a Man, Rachel, Rose, Jennifer, Brian, Cook, Cat, Needle, Diamond Day, Jewel, Garfield, Fusion, Skylark, Patron, Katrin, and coming up very soon after we're recording this podcast, we're doing our November patron exclusive podcast. So that's a big incentive to become a patron is getting to hear us talk about random nonsense on our monthly live video podcast. So patreon.com/overlyanimated for more details on all the benefits of becoming a patron. That's all I got. Sam, that's going to be very confusing because they're actually hearing that right now.
Yeah, that's why I was starting to say it.
Yeah, but we don't hear that. So Sam was just saying that with that in your head. Are you hearing that right now? Wow, that's impressive. Okay. Thank you guys for listening.
Jeff.
We will see you. Thanks. What?
I said thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, our friend Jeff is. He's been on a podcast. Yeah, Jeff did the music for the
Thanks,
intro
Jeff.
show. Yep, thanks, Jeff. Okay, thanks guys for listening. We will see you next time. Bye.
Breezy.
Bye.